Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and I forgot my hat again, Josh. It is time for the live stream show. Thanks for tuning in, checking it out, and hanging out with us. I am excited for another live stream show. We are going to be talking fishing, answering your questions, giving away free stuff. So if you want a chance to win over $1,500 in free trips, if you want a chance to learn more about nearshore, offshore, and even a little inshore fishing, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream in order to be eligible to win those free trips. Then you must watch live the entire show. So you have to be watching live in order to win. In order to be eligible to win, you do have to comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. We also ask that you that you share, that you comment. Make sure you tell us where you're watching from. That always helps as well. So like, share, comment, and then watch live. If you're picked as one of the lucky winners, you'll see your name appear on the screen at random times throughout the show. We'll do those giveaways. The names will appear on the screen. Then you'll have 5 minutes or less to text us at the phone number at the bottom of the screen, your full home address. And that's how you claim your winning trip. So we've explained it. A lot of times people are like, oh, you didn't explain it. Well, tell me you didn't watch the beginning of the show without telling me you didn't watch the beginning of the show, because we explain it every time in the beginning of the show. So there it is. That's how you enter. That's how you win. That's how you claim it. Now, want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle. This show is brought to you by our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. If you haven't stopped by and seen our friends at Gator Jim's, you're missing out. Huge selection, killer deals. It's Black Friday every day at Gator Jim's Tackle. So make sure you stop by, tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you, and say hello from all of us at Hubbard's Marina to our friends at Gator Jim's Tackle. Also, want to make sure we give a shout out to all of you, all of our supporters out there in our supporters group on Facebook. Remember, if you want to become a supporter today, it's only $4.99 for the entire month. That gives you private access to our private supporters group, behind the scenes, a little bit more communication, and a little bit more one-on-one support and help. Plus, we share a lot of stuff in the behind the scenes supporters group. Plus, you get access to the private after show that happens after this live show. So right after the live show, we have the supporters after show, a little bit more one-on-one. So check that out. Also, huge shout out to all of you who are sending stars. That stars on Facebook, the star senders help fuel the show, help make this possible as well. So we couldn't be here without Gator Gyms, our supporters in our supporters group, and those of you sending stars. So thank you so much. Want to give a shout out to some star senders. We had 750 from Stephen Batchelor. Happy New Year, my friend. Keith White, what's up, buddy? Yukimi Barker, Jasmine Marie, Richard Blazak, Ryan Kelly, LaShonda Brown with a big 500. Thank you, LaShonda. Larry White with 1,000. Happy New Year, my friend. Lance Hall with a big 1,200. Thanks, Lance. Hope you and the family are doing well. Happy New Year to the Hall family. James McCollum with 500 stars. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you. Gary Camage, appreciate you as well. Thank you all for the stars, the support, and for making this show possible. Now, want to make sure we also encourage you guys to like, comment, share. I mentioned it earlier, but it really helps spread the word, especially tonight. It's a holiday, so we're going to need a little extra help getting the word out there, so make sure you like, comment, and share the video for us. We'd appreciate it. Then with that, we're going to get into some photos. We always like to start the show by showing you what we're catching now, by showing you photos, inshore, then nearshore and offshore. Then we get into the weather a little bit, make a few announcements, then we answer your questions. If you want your question answered live during the show, you do have to text us your question to that phone number at the bottom of the screen. So make sure you comment, let us know where you're watching from, and text us a question to the phone number at the bottom of the screen. With that, we'll get into the photos and show you guys what we are catching inshore. We'll start inshore, work our way near shore and offshore. We are definitely seeing those redfish. The redfish bite's going pretty darn well. We're seeing a lot of the redfish around the grass flats. We're seeing a lot of the redfish around the dock lines, and we're seeing some good redfish action around oyster bars as well. A pretty decent redfish action, but really the sheep's head is where it's at right now. Inshore, we're seeing a lot of these sheep's head around our docks, piers, bridges, jetties, and should only see more and more of them, especially with these cold fronts, which we're going to get to here very shortly. Snook action has been going really, really well for us. Been seeing snook, but you got to be way up in the backcountry. You can tell this gentleman, our salt strong friend, is in the backcountry on his kayak. So if you can find them way back up in the bayou, in the rivers, in the creeks, you can find the big snooks hiding out. Some of the schoolie size fish are still out in the flats, especially on the warming days. Tomorrow would be a good day to hunt for snook because it's going to warm up tomorrow. Going to be the warmest day it's been in a while. Going to be the warmest day probably in the next 5 or 7 days too. So tomorrow would be a good day to go hunt those snook. The trout have been fired up, seeing a lot of these big trout too around the flat. Shallower flats are definitely holding some nice trout action. So trout, redfish, sheep's head are definitely king right now, with sheep's head being most prolific, trout being second, redfish being third, and then snook, if you can find them, in the back protected upper bay waters. But they are fully pulled back away from the passes right now. You're still hooking a few around the passes, don't get me wrong, but it is rare. Angie Darling, appreciate those 500 stars. D Beers with a big 1250. D Beers takes the lead in the stars. Now, big shout out to D. She won a swag pack in our cookie contest. She came in third place in the Hubbard's Marina cookie contest at this past final Friday. We had Brian C. and his better half Amber take second place in the cookie contest. Now, they took second place in the chili contest the month before too. So 2 months in a row, second place, solid finish from Brian C. and Amber. Then first place, Josh and Jesse with some really unique, I think it was like a green cookie. I want to say it was like cilantro jalapeno or something. It was very unique. I didn't eat any cookies, but we had a panel of 6 esteemed judges and a crowd vote. The crowd vote got swayed by James. James's daughter was in it, and so the crowd was a little biased, so we had to go with more of the judge vote. But we had a great first, second, third place finish in the cookie contest. And this coming January, we have another contest. What is January? Isn't it barbecue? Barbecue contest, January. I'm going to be a judge for that. So very pumped about that one. That is the last Friday in January. Plus, in January, we've got Seafood Fest as well. So 2 huge events inside Johns Pass in the month of January. So you don't want to miss out on that. So shout out to D Beers. And then Scott Flynn with a big 200 stars. Appreciate you as well, Scott. Thank you very much. All right, so back to the photos. Let's work our way near shore and offshore and show you guys what we're catching a little deeper. A lot of hogfish. Hogfish are biting well. Today's half-day trip came in on the Friendly this morning with Captain Joe. The stringers coming off the half-day trip looked like 10-hour stringers. We were only fishing a little deeper than normal half-day water because it was a little murky, so we had to go out a little deeper. But huge lane snapper, lots of hogfish. So we are seeing some solid fishing right now behind this front. Tomorrow is going to be an epic day to catch fish. We still got some room on the 10-hour. We got tons of room on the half-day trips. This afternoon's half-day with Captain James on the Florida stroked some big lanes, like 25 big lanes. A couple big keeper hogfish, lots of the gray snapper and porgies. So good time to get out there for sure. And tomorrow is going to be epic. We're going to get to the weather here in a second, but want to make sure we emphasize how epic tomorrow is going to be. As you can see, hogfish heaven right now. We're seeing a lot of the hogfish. The hub on our private charters catching a lot of the hogfish in lanes. The half day catching a good number of hogfish, 10-hour catching a lot of hogfish, It is a good time to get out there near shore right now, especially in these little weather windows. We are catching a lot of these hogfish. Even some of our friends near shore, not fishing with us, fishing on their own boats, catching nice hogfish. We're seeing a few of the mangrove snapper mixed in near shore. And guess what tomorrow is? It's New Year's Day, dog. And New Year's Day means January 1st. That means Red Grouper is open. Red Grouper opens back up tomorrow for harvest, so we're super pumped. We've got a 12-hour extreme leaving at 5 a.m., and they are going to go catch a boatload of these Red Grouper. Unfortunately, though, January 1st means triggerfish closes. So January 1st, triggerfish are closed January and February. They're also closed in June and July for a spawning season closure. So triggerfish are closed January, February, June, and July. They'll be open the rest of the year. So do have one fish closing, but we're excited about those Red Grouper opening back up. Yellowtail staying consistent. This from our last 12-hour night trip. Some really big yellowtail were caught. And we have a lot of those 12-hour night trips through 2024. One a month, and then in the spring and summer, we have even more. So lots of opportunities to get out there. And is your mic on, Josh? Because I'm going to let you take away this next piece because we're going to get into the weather now. But Josh surprised us with this little gem. What is this thing?
It's the Captain Dylan Hubbard Fan Club shirt.
So Josh put a pop-up on the homepage of the website. You can grab your T-shirt. We're doing pre-orders for the T-shirt that they surprised me with, I guess you could say, Josh. Josh did the design. Captain Chris Stoltz, if you know him, is a trickster. And he had the shirts printed for our company Christmas party. So all of a sudden, everybody came out with these T-shirts on. It was not so funny to me, but they thought it was funny. So if you want, go to our website, hubbardsmarina.com. This is only going to stay up through tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to take it down. And once the end of the day happens tomorrow, we're going to contact our T-shirt guy. We're actually going to print any of the ordered shirts. So these are pre-order. So if you buy one tonight, if you buy one tomorrow, we are going to close it. You will never, ever be able to get this T-shirt again. And those who have purchased, we will order those T-shirts for those purchases, and then we'll ship them out when we receive the shirt. So if you order them tonight, tomorrow, it's your last chance to ever see this shirt again.
And done. That's it.
Yeah, one and done. So keep that in mind. Want to make sure we give you a chance. I was going to take it down, but I wanted to at least run it through one of our live shows. Since we talked about it last live show, you guys heard about the joke. We wanted to make sure you got a chance to order one. So that's it. Weather links. So under fishing trips, you can click the weather links page and you can find all the weather links. Let's talk a little bit about the weather here real quick. 5 and 10 hour forecast area. You can see we've been talking about it, and I want to make sure you're aware of it because I want to make sure we do a good job of telling you that tomorrow is going to be the best day to go fishing. Really, really the best day, the only day really to go fishing. If you want a nice, calm, beautiful day with the best fishing opportunities, tomorrow is it for sure, because we are going to get a little bumpy there Tuesday and then pretty darn bumpy there Friday. So want to make sure you don't miss out. Now, we've been doing daily updates on our fishing reports. So we're going to do that on our Facebook and YouTube like always, but something that is going to definitely happen through 2024 is daily TikTok fishing updates. So it's going to be on TikTok, but we're going to put a little snippet on Instagram in our story, a little snippet on Snapchat in our story, a little snippet here and there in our stories, but the full thing is always going to be on TikTok, and then we're going to try to make sure it's on our YouTube and our Facebook as well. So definitely check out the Hubbard's Marina TikTok channel. If you have not, we have a lot of videos here. They're pretty funny. There's some really good ones. So, like, you can see some falling in the water action going on. There's some good videos on our TikTok channel. So make sure you check out Hubbard's Marina on TikTok. Make sure you give us a follow. Now, back to the weather. As I was mentioning, the reason I brought up the daily updates is we've been talking about it for the last 3 days in those daily updates. Tomorrow is the best day to go. The reason why, today was the first day it's been somewhat calm. We had some really rough weather there Friday and Saturday. We canceled all our fishing trips Friday and Saturday. Today was the first day where it was somewhat calm, but it was still stirred up. It was the day after the weather calmed down, and the water still needed to clear up. Remember, we talk about a lot, these cold fronts come through, they make the water really, really rough. The wind happens. Remember, it doesn't get cold in Florida without wind. So if you see the temperature drop, it's because we had a lot of wind. That wind brings waves. Wind and waves stir up the water. So near shore, in our half-day and 10-hour bottom, a day like today, Sunday, you can see it was beautiful today. Less than 10-mile-an-hour winds. Sea height was less than 3 foot. Still a little bumpy, but not bad. You can see the wave period was 6 seconds. So it was 3-foot seas with a wave period of 6 seconds. That means not really, really choppy. More of a swell, not bad at all. So today was a decent day weather-wise, but it was the day after some high winds and high seas, so that water was stirred up. The wind had calmed down, the waves had calmed down, but the water hadn't had a chance to clear up yet. So this morning was a little slow to start. The Friendly did better on the half day this morning because they pushed out a little deeper. They got a little deeper. Water was a little cleaner, wasn't so stirred up. The fishing was hotter. The Florida didn't get out as deep, stayed a little closer. Water was more murky, more stirred up. The fish didn't feed as well. This afternoon, the Florida fished a similar area, but it had more time to calm down. The water had cleared up a little bit, and the fishing was much better this afternoon. Tomorrow, gonna be real good because it's had time to calm down. Water's had time to clear up, and those fish should be very hungry because what happens Tuesday? Tuesday, wind kicks out of the north again. Here comes the cold weather again. We got another cold front Tuesday morning. And the fish know that. The fish can sense it, and they are going to be biting extremely well through the day tomorrow. And I think it's going to be an epic day to be on the water. Then Tuesday doesn't look bad. It's kind of a weak cold front, but fishing would probably be pretty affected. So probably not the greatest fishing Tuesday. Wednesday, it gets really windy because you're right behind a cold front Tuesday, right before an even stronger cold front Thursday. So that creates a pressure gradient. And so Wednesday is going to be pretty breezy and pretty bumpy. Then Thursday doesn't look great at all. Really rough, really windy. Friday it calms down a little bit, but the water's going to be stirred up. So fishing's probably going to be a little tough. Then Saturday, look at that. Prefrontal activity again. Strong south wind from a pressure gradient right into a really strong cold front Sunday. So this pattern of cold front is settling in. So you really have to capitalize on these weather windows. And you can just quickly look at the graph up top, and you can tell Monday is the best day to go because it's right before this little cold front. If you can't go Monday, Tuesday looks okay. Wednesday even looks okay. Friday looks okay. I wouldn't go Wednesday. Thursday, we probably can't go. Saturday, we probably can't go because of the weather. So that's what we're looking at weather-wise right now. So capitalize on these weather windows. It's so important to take advantage of them when you can. Jeff Reedy with a big 2,400 stars, taking the lead substantially in the stars race tonight. Thank you, Jeff Reedy. Very, very happy New Year to you and the family. Hope Olivia and everybody is doing well. So with that, let's see who won our first free trip of the night. We're going to give away our 10-hour all day first. 10-hour all day for one lucky winner is 10-hour all day. Albert Rhodes. Congratulations, Albert, with that lucky win of our 10-hour all day trip. Now we got the 5-hour half day for two and the Hubbard's Marina swag pack to give away tonight, plus our 39-hour trip for one, of course, as well. So still got that as well. Now it's time to get into some questions. If you have a question you want answered live during the show, make sure you text us at the phone number at the bottom of the screen in order to have your question answered live during the show. Now, while Josh is pulling up our first question of the night, want to make sure we do some announcements here real quick. We do have our what do we have announcement wise? We have the Final Friday coming up, end of January, going to be a great time. We also have our
special guest.
What special guest?
That's coming in January. The guy.
Yeah, we had to reschedule that, and they haven't gotten back to me. It was supposed to be Andy Strelchek from NOAA Fisheries coming on the week of, I think it was like January 21st or something like that. And unfortunately, I had something come up. So we have to reschedule with him, and they haven't gotten back to me on the date yet. But that is a special event coming up for sure. And he is going to reschedule. When is the Seafood Fest? I want to say that's the third weekend in January. But January 19th through 21st. There it is. January 19th through 21st. Have you been to a seafood festival before in Johns Pass? It's pretty awesome. It's pretty dope. Huge number of vendors. It is a lot of fun for sure. So hopefully you can join us January 19th, January 20th, or 21st. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday inside the pass for Seafood Fest. Definitely going to be awesome. All right. Let's see here. Someone updated us. The cookie that won first place was the pistachio cookie. I've messed up. I thought it was the jalapeno, but you're right. Tony Barnes did do the spicy one. So I was wrong. First place cookie was this pistachio. It was green, so I had a 50-50 shot. Let's see here. Let's see. What other questions do we have? On behalf of Salt Strong St. Pete Pinellas chapter said the chapter would like to donate a conservation tool, the See You Later release tool. That's awesome. Well, we would be happy to give that out, but keep in mind as well that anybody can get that See You Later release tool. We will definitely take it, Alex, and we appreciate that. But Josh, can you pull up the return'emright.org website? I want to show you guys something pretty cool. I don't know if they're going to have it on the website right now, but if they don't, they do have it on their Facebook page. Can you pull up their Facebook page real quick? Oh, that's it. Never mind. Right there. That picture. Can you pull that up in a separate? Yeah. So they shared a heat map. This is the Return 'em Right. Where is it? This is the button I want. This is called a heat map. So Return 'em Right shared this on their Facebook page, and it shows all the people that took the Return 'em Right training. And you can see Central West Florida, Pinellas County, St. Pete has the highest number of trainees. And remember, if you go to return'emright.org, and take the training on their main website here, you can subscribe to their email, but if you take the training right at the top, it says get free gear, and you hit this and you go through their training. It's really cool. Just again, once you're on the website return'emright.org, hit get free gear, and then once you're on the get free gear, just hit start training, and then you can walk through the course. It's really easy. There's pretty cool videos. It asks how old you are, it asks some basic questions, and you kind of take a training course, give them your information, and then they're going to send you over $100 in free stuff. A sequelizer, a See You Later, a 3-pound weight. It's all rigged and ready as a descending device. Multiple descending devices they send you in the mail, absolutely free. So some people have been giving them to us, and we've been re-gifting them to people who have their own boat that need them. And we've been using them on our boats as well. But you can take the course and the training, and it helps to spread those devices around and the knowledge around. I would recommend everybody takes the course. Even if you don't need the gear, you can take the course and you can say, hey, I don't need the gear. Or get the gear, bring it to us, and we'll make sure it gets to someone who needs it or could use it. It's definitely very, very cool training, and it helps you to gain a lot of knowledge that you can then share. Because the goal with returnemright.org, that whole program, is to help spread the information about barotrauma mitigation and barotrauma release mortality mitigation as well. We're trying to make sure that more fish that get thrown back, either the season's closed, you're over your bag limit, whatever the reason may be that you're discarding a fish or releasing a fish offshore, we want to make sure that that fish has a higher chance of surviving. So in order to do that, we want to make sure that we're mitigating barotrauma. So we do that most frequently at Hubbard's Marina by using a venting tool. A venting tool works really, really well, and we definitely recommend a venting tool, especially in cases like on a party boat when we're catching a lot of fish really quickly. The venting tool is kind of our go-to method, but a descending device is really easy, and it's kind of better for the fish because you don't have to poke a hole in the fish. So if you have the time, if you have the area, a descending device is really the best method. Plus, you don't need any knowledge to use one of those see you later devices or the descending or the now I'm blanking on the name. There's see you later, and then there's the sequelizer is the other one, because the sequelizer is like a boca grip. You just clip it on the lip of the fish and sends it right down to bottom. It's pretty easy. It actually auto releases. So definitely take the course, take the training. returnemright.org. It's free to do. You get free gear. It's a lot of good information, and you'll learn a little bit. And it's short, it's easy, it's fast. And it's $30 million program. It's actually NERDA funds from the BP oil spill that's funding it. So go get you some free money, some free gear, and a little bit of free training, and tell your friends, because we really want to make sure everybody takes that course, and we help try to spread the good word about doing our part to make sure whatever fish you return offshore have a better survival rate. A lot of people are like, well, you're going to just feed the dolphins, or the sharks are just going to eat right off of that thing. But you'd be surprised that actually a lot of money is being spent. Part of that $30 million of this project is actually going into research. And a lot of that research is continuing to show and prove that these descending devices really, really help those fish survive another day. There was some project done recently by FWRI, the Florida Wildlife Research Institute, and they actually caught a Kitty Mitchell grouper, which is a speckled hind, in 484 foot of water. Caught it on a research trip, tagged it, put a satellite tracking device in the fish, sent it down on a descending device, and 480 foot. Its eyes are bulged out, stuff's coming out of its anus, its stomach is out of its mouth. I mean, this fish looked like it was dead. And they sent it down there on a descending device, and this fish was caught like 8 months later, and it had moved to 800 foot of water, and it had grown. So not only was it healthy enough to continue to eat and to grow, but it was also healthy enough to travel multiple miles into much deeper water to be caught again via hook and line. And then they were able to use all that information to show the efficacy of how that discard barotrauma mitigation device, that descending device, was super helpful and really works, the efficacy of the device. And there's a lot of projects like that going on. So definitely make sure you do it. And make sure you take the training. We appreciate it. So all that from Alex at the Pinellas St. Pete Salt Strong chapter. And another note on that too, another rabbit trail to go down is, if you haven't checked out Salt Strong, make sure you do so. They are doing such a good job with their chapters. So a lot of people ask about fishing clubs. There's some pretty good fishing clubs around our area. Finn's Fishing Club is a great one down there in Apollo Beach area. They meet at Finn's Restaurant on the south shore of Tampa Bay. But Salt Strong has fishing clubs all around the entire Gulf and even into like North Carolina. And they're everywhere. There's a Hillsborough County chapter. There's a Newport Richey one. There's a Pinellas County. There's a Manatee County. They have chapters everywhere. It's nuts. So check out saltstrong.com/Hubbard. Josh is putting the link in the chat right now. Again, that's saltstrong.com/Hubbard. You can actually become a member of Salt Strong at that link. And if you use that link, they give you all the courses that they filmed with me for free. So not only do you become a member, but you get all the courses for free too. Plus you get access to all the chapters of their clubs, which are huge. I speak at a few different fishing clubs, and Salt Strongs are always a huge showing. It's a really, really cool club. And they meet locally in Madeira Beach, which is pretty awesome as well. Let's see here. Grouper or hogfish hottest in the AM or afternoon? So the only trips that have an AM or afternoon are half-day trips, right? So the half-day trip is our shortest trip closest to shore. So we don't really get super deep on that half-day trip to have a real good shot at grouper. But you have a decent shot at hogfish. We get a lot of those gray snapper and porgies. This time of year, generally the afternoon is going to be better because it's a little warmer and it's had time for that sun to come up. But the morning is always much more highly sought after. So 90% of our demand, people want to go in the morning. That old, the back of the boat's the best spot to fish is false. And, oh, I have to be out there early in the morning to catch fish is also false. But people believe these kind of, I guess you could say, nomenclatures or old school beliefs of the back of the boat's always the best spot to fish, and you got to, early bird gets a worm, you got to be out there early. That's not true, but people believe it really strongly. So everybody wants to go out in the morning. So generally this time of year when we're a little slower, we only offer morning half days, because if we offered afternoon half days when we know the fishing's a little bit better, it's a little warmer, we wouldn't have as many people fishing with us and we couldn't run trips. So we have to kind of, unfortunately, business can kind of dictate some of those things sometimes. But right now around the holiday, we have some afternoon half days and they are catching more fish. But like today, we had 130 people in the morning. So we split them between two boats, and two boats went out with 65 people each. Guess how many people went out in the afternoon? Had 130 in the morning. Guess how many people chose to book the afternoon? 35. 130 in the morning, 35 in the afternoon. The afternoon did much better because the fishing was better, because it warmed up. Had more time for the sun to come up, more time for that water to calm down and clear up. But it's like trying to explain the back of the boat's not the best place to fish. We still have people arguing and say, no. Back of the boat's the best spot to fish. That's where I want to fish. So maybe one day we'll keep trying. But, yeah, it's pretty interesting how that works. So to answer your question, for grouper, does it matter AM or PM? No. Generally, for grouper, like on a 39-hour trip, you fish, let's say a Friday 39-hour. We leave at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then you start fishing around midnight. And then you start fishing around midnight Friday, 1 a.m. Saturday morning. You fish to about 7 to 9 p.m. Saturday night. You get about 20 hours of fishing. The best time for grouper during that 39-hour trip, sun up, sundown, generally. Or during the day, we pick at them. Nighttime, not as good generally. Gags, sometimes we get a little night bite. Sometimes you might see a few red grouper at night, occasionally a scamp, but 80% of the grouper are caught during the day. And out of those 80%, I would say 50% of those 80% are caught sunrise, sundown. Sunrise, sundown is generally a good time to get those grouper. That's why the 12-hour stream leaves at 5 a.m. We want to try to be out there fishing by around sunrise. Now, in the summertime, it's hard to do because we're going farther and the sun rises really early, so that generally doesn't happen. But we're trying to get out there as early as possible and start fishing earlier in the day, because a lot of times around 10 a.m. to about 2 p.m., you can get those midday doldrums, especially in the summer, where fishing gets a little bit tough sometimes. Even in the half day, or even in the 10-hour trips, you can get a little tough midday sometimes. Those midday doldrums, when the current slows, the sun is directly above us in the sky, sometimes things can kind of shut down midday. So definitely through the night on moon phases, the bite's really good, and then generally first part of the day, second part of the day, kind of sunrise through early morning, and then late in the day, dusk through sunset. Generally, to answer your question. As far as hogfish are concerned, anytime during the day. Anytime during the day, for sure. Kingfish, not around right now. We're seeing hardly any kingfish, and the fall run is definitely over. Still some mackerel around sporadically, but not a lot of them. Buzzy asked, is there a waiting list for the supporters fishing trip? Shoot me an email and I can put you on the list. I did hear of a few people that might have to back out of the supporters trip. I know we had a wait list going. I have a few people on the wait list already. So shoot me an email, info@Hubbard's Marina, and I can get you on there. Good evening. Oh, no, that's not a question. Speaking with the crew last week about hogfish limits, some said 2 per person, but I read online 5 per person. It is 5 per person. You're allowed 5 per person per day, 14 inches to the fork on hogfish. If you go on our website, actually, we have the website has the fishing information. If you go on to hubbardsmarina.com, click fishing trips, and then under, I'm going to guess, yes, fishing trip information, and then fishing rules and regulations. That'll bring you to our fishing regulations of the Gulf of Mexico page, and you have a few buttons. You can download it, Google Play, you can download it on your Apple iPhone, or you can just visit the website. This brings you to Fish Rules. The Fish Rules app rules the Gulf and the state of Florida. They have a contract with the state of Florida, with FWC, with the Gulf of Mexico Fishery Management Council, and they actually host all the regulations for those management bodies. So up here in the corner, you can see the change location feature right up there in the top corner, and you want to make sure you change locations. So we're going to go out into federal waters, make sure it says Gulf of Mexico federal waters. Behind me, you can't see it, so I'm going to turn off the camera. Behind me, you're going to see in the bottom right corner, confirm location. Once we've confirmed location, we confirm up here saying federal waters now. So now that it says federal waters, we can go ahead and search for hogfish, and it's going to show us hogfish, and it's going to show you the bag limit of 5, minimum size of 14 inches. And it's going to show you if there's a season. It's going to show you how to measure it. So that's a fork length, meaning right here, it has to be 14 inches from right here in the fork all the way to the mouth, closed mouth. So that is how you measure a hogfish. You're allowed 5 per person per day in federal waters. So that's how you look up fishing regulations too. Super easy. And that is the most up-to-date resource outside of calling and asking myself or our team as well. Because a lot of times even I check that. I checked that today to confirm what I thought was true about triggerfish. But definitely a good kind of backup plan. All right, so Josh was reminding me it's time to do another giveaway. We did our 10-hour all day. Let's go ahead and give away our Hubbard's Marina swag pack. Remember, if you're the lucky winner of the swag pack, you also have to send us your t-shirt size with your home address. So let's find out who won our Hubbard's Marina swag pack. Ralph Driscoll, congratulations from Maryland, my friend. Big old win from our friend Ralph. Got the Hubbard's Marina stickers on his truck. He shot me some photos of that from his first trip. He came down for a 39-hour trip recently, so that's cool. Ralph, congrats. All right, so let's see what other questions do we have here. We still got our 5-hour half day to give away and that 39-hour trip as well. So we still got some stuff to give away. We got plenty of questions to answer still too. Is Red Snapper totally closed, or are they still doing weekend fishing? So Red Snapper weekends were for private recreational anglers only. So for Red Snapper in the Gulf, only Red Snapper, there is different seasons for federal for hire, which is us, charter boats and party boats, and the private recreational fleet, which is anybody like you guys who own their own boats and are fishing on their own private boat. For Red Snapper only, that's when the seasons differ for recreational. So the private rec guys fishing on their own private boats definitely had a different season, and they were the ones who could participate in those weekends. We could not. Those weekends are over. Thanksgiving was the last one. So Red Snapper weekends are over. We are in a new fishing year. 2024 starts tomorrow. So new fishing year means all the seasons, all the quotas reset. And the state of Florida won't open private recreational Red Snapper until the summertime sometime. Do any of the fish in the Gulf have ciguatera? It is much less common in the Gulf. much more common in the South Atlantic. You can get some ciguatera in the southern Gulf if you're fishing South Texas or South Florida. Central West Florida around Tampa Bay area, ciguatera is very rare. Haven't really seen it myself. Any confirmed cases really. Ciguatera is a disease, I believe, comes from fish that eat coral. So a lot of times you'll see it in like Cubera snapper, barracuda, some of those fish that patrol reefs in the Caribbean and around the Keys, and then come up and get into the Gulf, but not really common at all. Will needs to make a video of him tying and explaining his Albright knot. That's a good one. Will has like 47 knots that he calls the Albright knot, and I've seen 47 different iterations of that knot. But they all have their own favorite line-to-line knot, and the frustrating thing about Will's is it changes every 2 months. You'll talk to him again, and all of a sudden it's a new knot or a new variation of the same knot. So that's a good idea. We definitely want to make more videos in 2024, adding stuff to our tips and tricks page. We have a fishing tips and tricks page. We have a lot of knot videos there. If you haven't checked out our fishing tips and tricks page, go to hubbardsmarina.com, click fishing video links, and then click fishing tips and tricks. You can see all the videos we have up here, which are pretty endless. Not endless. There's a lot of them, though. And we are going to be add more. Definitely is a goal in 2024 to add more to that fishing tips and tricks page for sure. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? Yeah, a lot of barracuda have ciguatera, so sometimes you can run into that, but not really in Central West Florida. Those are more common. You run into those in the Keys. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Have we answered all the questions in Swell already? Wow, that's impressive. All right, so running out of questions, we will start making some stuff up to talk about. If you don't have any more questions, if you do have a question you want to send us, shoot us a message shoot us a text message to that phone number at the bottom of the screen. Want to make sure we, of course, say Happy New Year to everybody. It has been a great 2023. Looking forward to an even better 2024. Our schedule is out. Everybody's been taking advantage of that, and we're looking forward to a good time for Red Snapper 2024 and gags, but definitely most excited about our Red Grouper reopening tomorrow, and that good opportunity to kick it off with some nice fishing weather tomorrow, which will be very, very, very good. Barracuda is good eating, especially a smaller barracuda. The big barracuda are the ones that you start to worry about the ciguatera with, and also mercury. They have a lot of mercury in barracuda because they eat a lot of different fish with high amounts of mercury. So generally, you want to stay away from the bigger barracuda, where smaller barracuda are definitely going to be a little bit better food grade, food quality, a little safer food quality as well. Let's see here. You have to hit today on Fair Harbor. So tomorrow's half-day trip, we have 43 in the morning and 30 in the afternoon. So much more room in the afternoon compared to the morning. But tomorrow morning's not that full because it's New Year's Day. Generally a little tough for people to show up early on New Year's Day. But we have 16 people on the extreme trip, so I'm kind of interested to see how many of those 16 are showing up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to go fishing. Because I have a feeling at 4 a.m. tomorrow it's going to be a little tough to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for many people, but hopefully they're ready to go. How long into January, February do the hogfish bite remain hot? We generally have a pretty good hogfish bite up until like April, May. It depends on the weather. Once it starts warming up, those hogfish kind of spread out a little bit, and they start, once the cold fronts get a little less hardened down, a little less prolific. We stop getting as many cold fronts. It starts to warm up in the Gulf. The hogfish bite slows down a little bit. So April, May, but sometimes we have later winters that stretch out, and then it'll go into May. Other times the cold fronts stop really fast, it warms up really fast, and it kind of slows down in April, so you never know. But generally, all the way through February, March, we get some pretty good hog fishing. Mark Anderson, appreciate those stars, my friend. George Arterburn as well with 500 stars. Thank you, George, very much. Have you seen or caught any cobia? We're seeing some cobia occasionally, not a lot of cobia. Most of what we're seeing are those cobia that swim up to the boat while we're bottom fishing. Not a lot of cobia. Definitely not enough to have a directed fishery for cobia. But occasionally you'll catch them when we're bottom fishing. Cobia will swim up. We're able to pitch them a bait and have a good chance at catching one of them. But we haven't been seeing a ton by any means. Just a few here and there for sure. We have to give away our 5-hour half-day trip as well, Josh. We gave away our swag pack, our 10-hour trip. Let's see who won the 5-hour half-day trip for 2 guests. 5-hour half-day trip for 2 guests goes to Chris Martinez. Happy New Year, everyone, he said. Happy New Year to you, Chris. All right. So with that, want to make sure we give a shout out to Angie Darling with another 500 stars. Thank you, Angie. Richard Blazak as well. Appreciate you, my friend, for the stars too. So some stars senders rounding us out tonight. I appreciate y'all. Will the 10-hour trips go a little deeper for the red grouper? Generally, what we're going to do now that red grouper have reopened on the 10-hour trips, we start a little deeper. We go a little further to start a little deeper, and if the bite's going well in deep water, we're seeing a few red grouper, we're getting some nice lanes, some mangroves, we'll stay out there in 70, 80, 90 foot, maybe even 100 foot. But if we get out there 70, 80, 90 foot, we're not getting any red grouper, the bite's slow, we a lot of times will kick it back inshore to 40, 50, 60 foot and start trying to hunt those hogfish. So definitely start deeper and then work our way shallower depending on how the fishing's going. Is kind of our plan during January, February, March 10-hour trips where the hogfish are still biting well, but the red grouper are open. We kind of play the game. Who's going to cooperate best? Starting with those red grouper, and then we work in a little bit shallower. Let's see, what other questions do we have here? Mark Anderson, appreciate those stars. Nick Nieves, happy New Year's. Happy New Year's to everybody out there. Got a lot of fireworks going on outside our door tonight. I think we covered all the announcements that I had to cover tonight. Man, we got through the show pretty quick tonight. Thomas, nice full fish. He caught a strawberry grouper and cooked it whole in a, I don't know how to pronounce that word, Marina sauce, sweet cream, carrot puree, and couscous. Food so nice they named it twice. I love couscous. That's from Pineapple Express. Good movie. That looks very good. Are we showing that? Look at that. That's the photo he sent in tonight of his strawberry grouper. One of the best eaten fish that we catch, those little baby grouper. Man, I was not hungry, but now I am. That looks amazing. Carrot puree. And a sauce I didn't even know how to pronounce. Looks pretty legit. Good job, Thomas Heck. Thanks for sharing. All right. Any other questions, guys, before we round this out? Definitely want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. If you haven't checked them out, make sure you do so. Killer deals. Good people over there for sure. And we'd love to have you stop by and say hello. Someone asked, are there any new T-shirt designs for the Regulars Club members? We still have the classic t-shirt, the Regulars Club t-shirt. We didn't have to order new t-shirts this year. We still have a bunch in stock. So when we order new t-shirts, we'll consider new designs. And I know, Tony, you want to do some long sleeve performance, but we have not gone that route yet. Thinking about it, though. And you did make a good case for it, my friend. What's your preferred bait to target red grouper? Good choice. Good choice. I'm going to go red grouper fishing, I would say, with a big thread fin. Normally, if I'm fishing on a 39-hour trip, I'm going to be dropping down this time of year for those mangrove snapper with a cut thread fin. So you cut the head, cut the tail, trim the belly, leave yourself a nice little rectangular chunk of thread fin, and you put the double snell rig in there and you drop it down for the mangrove snapper. With the red grouper, I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. Maybe even do a couple thread fins with the head on, leave the head on. Maybe don't trim the belly. So just clip the tail, give you a bigger piece of dead bait. You could even double up your thread fins, so a little bit bigger of a hook. You go through the eye socket of a dead thread fin and go through another eye socket, so you have double thread fins. But then you got to make sure you clip the tail on both of those thread fins. When you're dropping down 2 thread fins on one hook, it's going to spin. It's going to tangle you up, and it's going to tangle everyone around you up. So what you have to do is you have to put your thumb on the spool more, and you have to drop it down really slowly. So you have to do that in an area where people aren't. You can't do that on the stern. You can't do that on the side if there's a bunch of people around you. But if you're fishing in an area where there's less people, the current's not running really bad, 2 dead thread fins, 2 of them on one big hook through the eye socket, dropped really slowly to bottom is a good red grouper bait. You can also catch a little gray snapper, cut the head, cut the tail, and use the plug, just like what we do with the thread fins. We cut the head off, we cut the tail off, and we use that chunk of meat. You can do the same thing with a gray snapper or a white grunt. That's called a grunt plug, and that works really well. Porgies, you could butterfly a porgy or white grunt. Lizard fish work really well for red grouper, dead lizard fish, even whole lizard fish alive. Squirrel fish, really, really good. Butterflied up for red grouper. Red grouper like dead, stinky bait. So sometimes some big crabs, blue crabs, Publix chicken wings. But I would say probably my favorite bait for red grouper would be slow pitch jigs. Using a slow pitch setup, a red grouper is one of the easiest to really get dialed in on slow pitch jigs. Jig Pro Wavy 180 gram blue and silver, glow and silver, blue and glow, silver and glow, gold and glow, all good options. The flatty from Johnny Jigs. There's a couple jigs in our shop. The octopus jig. There's a few of our slow pitch jigs in our shop we can point out to you that work really, really well. Let's see here. Red and gold. That's a good option, Jeff. But I would say for red grouper, it would be going dead bait, pinfish, or getting the slow pitch jig going. Slow pitch jig is always a good idea for the red grouper for some reason. Yes, Publix chicken is magic. It is. Red grouper know it. If you take one of those Publix chicken wings and throw it in the water and it sinks to bottom, it will be spewing bubbles of oil to the surface. If you're in 100 foot of water, you can throw a chicken bone in the water and you'll still be seeing bubbles of oil hit the surface like there's an oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. When that thing is on the bottom for like 5 minutes, it's crazy the amount of oil that's in those bones, and just greasy, really good for your body oil. And so you put that down on the bottom, it's going to emit a lot of smell. That's what you're attracting that grouper with. Whole squid, bonita strips, octopus tentacle is probably my favorite red grouper bait. A fresh octopus tentacle, or even you could catch an octopus and cut it in half or cut it in quarters. So you're using like 2 or 3 legs, because the octopus leg still moves even when it's cut from the octopus. So a fresh octopus tentacle, primo red grouper bait. Even frozen octopus work pretty well. But a whole squid is a great option as well. Tony Barnes said, dip the chicken bone in Duke's mayo first. Grouper know that Duke's mayo is the best. You're so silly. Everybody knows Hellman's mayonnaise is the best. All right, what other questions do we have? Are we out of questions? Out of questions. All right, well, we'll wrap this thing up a little early. It is New Year's Eve and all, so I'm sure you guys want to go outside and see the fireworks, right? Everybody needs to refill their venting tools. Let's find out who won our 39-hour trip, and we'll close out a little early. We're going to kick off our supporters after show at 8:40. 8:40. If you're a supporter in our supporters group, get on over there and join us at 8:40 p.m. for the supporters after show. Let's see who won our 39-hour fishing trip for one lucky winner. 39-hour fishing trip for one lucky winner goes to Joe Saunders from Madeira Beach. Congratulations, Joe. That's awesome, man. Lucky winner from Madeira Beach. Now, you got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address to the phone number at the screen, at the bottom of the screen. Hopefully, we'll see you guys soon. Don't forget, final Friday in January, barbecue contest. If you want to join, we're going to have free food, free beer, free drinks. Also, Seafood Festival. It's going to be a great time, the 19th through 21st. Mark your calendars. Hope to see you out for both of those events. Don't forget to check out our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. Big shout out to our supporters out there and our supporters club. Appreciate you guys for making the show possible. All the star senders tonight who help fuel the show. Jenny Jo Wilkins rounded us out with Terry McDaniel. Appreciate you. And Mark Anderson with the big 500 stars. Thank you, guys. Also, make sure you check out our TikTok channel. We're really working hard to grow that so we can stream live there Sunday nights as well. So check out our TikTok. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. We hope to see you soon at Hubbard's Marina. Y'all have a great night, tight lines, and Happy New Year, y'all.